Right, okay. So Auto Express have told me that I'm reviewing a Mazda 2 today and it's been left in the car park, and there is no Mazda 2 in this car park. There's a Corsa, there's a Yaris. Hold on a minute. Yeah, Yusuf said it's white. That's white, but that's the Yaris. Ah, I see what he's done. Oh, okay. So are we reviewing this and then comparing it to the Mazda 2? Is that what we're doing? Okay. Okay.
Actually, it's not a joke. That's exactly what Mazda has done to create the new Mazda 2 hybrid. They simply peeled the Toyota badges off, slapped on a few Mazda logos and called it a day. No, seriously, look. I mean, it's pretty much identical to a Yaris, but as we're about to find out, that is not a bad thing at all.
We quite like Mazda's quirkiness. Like, they always add that little bit of extra style or a bit of weirdness over their mainstream rivals, which in a way makes it a bit of a shame that they haven't really put any effort into making the Mazda 2 any different from the Toyota Yaris. But look, there is method to the madness. They haven't just gone completely bananas, right? Here's what's happened. Mazda needed to reduce the average CO2 emissions across all of their models. So they found the easiest and most cost-efficient way of doing it. So they partnered up with Toyota, and then they based the Mazda 2 hybrid on the incredibly efficient Toyota Yaris hybrid. Yeah, so they've managed to lower their emissions, and they managed to save a quick penny on development costs. Lovely. But look, if you're not too keen on it, you can still get yourself a full petrol Mazda 2 if you want one. If you're desperate for a pure Mazda, if you get my drift.
So this is a bit like when Aston Martin partnered with Toyota to produce the Signet City car to reduce its fleet emissions, albeit much less controversial. Right then, back to the Mazda. Yaris. Right, we couldn't get hold of an actual Mazda 2 hybrid to test, so we took the opportunity to put the Yaris through its paces to see if Mazda is onto a winner with its rebadged version.
Right, so it's when you start approaching B roads or faster roads that you notice the CVT transmission. If you have a heavy foot, like I do sometimes, that's when you really notice the revs flaring up. Like if I put my foot down, it gets quite loud. It's not as bad as some other CVTs that I've experienced before, but it can flare up. So say you're trying to overtake someone and you kind of go, oh, look at me, I'm overtaking you. But also I'm kind of embarrassed because my engine's really loud. So, you know, that's just when you really notice it. But a nice light right foot and you're kind of onto a winner, really. So this GR Sport version has slightly stiffer suspension. I mean, it's not bumpy or anything. It will crash into a pothole occasionally, but it's nothing too horrendous. On a corner, it's no GR Yaris, but you can still chuck it and whip it and throw it. It still feels very secure when you throw it around a corner. But if you want something really fun, then you go for the GR Yaris. It's quite a fairly light car, actually. It's just over a tonne. So in terms of day-to-day driving, it's got a good enough performance. You've got 114 brake horsepower, 0 to 62 time of 9.7 seconds. It's fine. It's fine. But again, with the CVT transmission, you don't feel the urge to put your foot down and throw this thing around anyway. So speed, I don't think really matters in this thing.
But there is a very good reason why Mazda chose this car as a basis for the 2 hybrid. It is incredibly efficient. You can easily do around 65 miles per gallon on mixed journeys, and the Yaris puts out just 92 grams per kilometre of CO2. That means it is dirt cheap to run, and residual values are strong.
Quite sensible in here, isn't it? I mean, I don't want to call it bland. There's something about a Yaris interior that I quite like, because you've got like sort of curves and swoops and circles and curves and things. But yeah, it is a little touch on the bland side. Just feels well built and just fine. I mean, standard equipment is very good. You've got automatic wipers, automatic headlights, adaptive cruise control, reversing camera. The basic Icon model comes with 16-inch alloys, which is quite nice, but this is obviously the GR Sport version. So we've got a couple of little added extras like keyless entry, 18-inch alloys, which are actually quite stylish, might I add. Now in here, we have the Touch 2 infotainment system. Every model comes with the Touch 2 infotainment system, but as you step up, then you get the 8-inch model, and the screen is actually moved up into a better position, so it makes it a little bit easier to use. The system itself is perfectly fine. It can be quite easy to get lost in menus and sub-menus, etc. I'll be honest with you, I mostly just use the Apple CarPlay on here, so I don't normally use any of this stuff. So if you use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, I mean, you're sorted. Physical climate controls, which we all know I love. I love a twiddly knob and I love a button. And I'm not going to lie, this looks like, do you remember the old school days when you used to get one of those CD players and you could take the face off to stop people from nicking it? That's what it looks like, which is quite retro in a way. Right, the instrument panel, again, I quite like it. You've got sort of the circles on the outside. That's got your speed and your petrol, etc. That's got your hybrid information, and then in the middle, in the screen in the middle, it tells you how efficiently you're driving, which I'm not going to lie, I get quite competitive with myself. So all I'm doing is just trying to get the number higher, or the percentage higher, if you will. I've been doing quite well so far.
So the Yaris isn't spectacular inside, but it does what most people need from a Super Mini. The Mazda 2 Hybrid has exactly the same cabin. It would have been nice for them to have added some funky trims to brighten it up, but they haven't. Still, there is plenty of room in the front, and both the Toyota and the Mazda are 5-door only. You can easily fit 2 adults in the back, provided that they aren't especially tall, although the boot is smaller than some rivals at 286 litres.
So the Toyota Yaris is our affordable hybrid car of the year. I mean, deservedly so. And it bodes very well for the Mazda 2, doesn't it? I mean, on paper, the Mazda 2 is actually £300 cheaper than the Yaris, but that doesn't technically make it a bargain, because on there, on the entry-level model, you only get 15-inch wheels, not alloys. No reversing camera like the Yaris does. But look, underneath the badges, underneath all of it, both cars, brilliant.